Given your GPA and your situation, I think we should look at something more realistic. That woman doesn't get to decide who you become. Years later, she's arrived, composed, capable, walking into an ordinary lunch line. Welcome home, Dr. Carter.
Jasmine Carter had wanted to be a doctor since she was 9 years old, ever since a kind pediatrician named Dr. Ellison spent an extra 20 minutes explaining exactly what was happening inside her body during a frightening asthma attack, calming her simply through the patience of understanding. From that day forward, Jasmine devoured every book about the human body her local library could offer, kept a spiral notebook full of medical terms she taught herself to spell, and told anyone who asked that she was going to be a physician one day. Her mother, Rosalind Carter, worked as a cafeteria server at St. Augustine Medical Center, a job she'd held for 15 years, coming home most nights smelling faintly of steam trays and dish soap, exhausted but never too tired to ask about Jasmine's homework. Rosalind hadn't finished her own college degree, having left school young to help support her siblings, but she made certain Jasmine understood that circumstances weren't the same thing as capability. By senior year, Jasmine held a solid B+ average, worked 15 hours a week at a local pharmacy to help with household bills, and had assembled a list of pre-med programs she planned to apply to with quiet, determined hope. Patricia Hale had been the senior guidance counselor at Jefferson High School for nearly 20 years, known throughout the building for efficient, no-nonsense meetings that rarely ran past their allotted 15 minutes. When Jasmine sat across from her in early October, application season in full swing, she explained her plan clearly: pre-med tracks at 3 state universities, financial aid applications already underway, a strong letter of recommendation from her chemistry teacher already secured. Patricia glanced briefly at Jasmine's transcript, noted her B+ average without much reaction, and then looked at her more carefully, taking in details that had nothing to do with academic performance. Medical school is an extremely demanding path, Jasmine, Patricia said, her tone gentle but final. Given your GPA and your family's financial situation, I think we should look at something more realistic. There's a wonderful medical assistant certificate program at the community college, only 18 months, much more attainable. Jasmine sat frozen, the pamphlet already sliding across the desk before she'd said a single word in response, understanding somehow that Patricia's assessment had very little to do with her transcript at all. Jasmine walked home that afternoon in a daze, the community college pamphlet crumpled in her backpack, replaying the conversation over and over, searching for the exact moment she'd been talked out of her own future without ever agreeing to it. She found her mother in their small kitchen that evening, still in her work uniform, and finally let the tears come as she recounted every word. Rosalind listened without interrupting, her jaw tightening slightly at "someone like you," though she never raised her voice. When Jasmine finished, Rosalind simply said, "That woman doesn't get to decide who you become. She barely knows your name outside a file folder." The next morning, Rosalind picked up an extra weekend shift at the hospital cafeteria, something she'd continue doing for the following 4 years without complaint, quietly redirecting the additional income toward Jasmine's community college prerequisite courses, a compromise path Jasmine chose not because Patricia was right, but because it was the most affordable route toward the same eventual goal, on Jasmine's own terms rather than anyone else's assumption of her limits. Jasmine spent 2 years completing rigorous prerequisite coursework at the community college, earning a nearly perfect GPA while continuing to work part-time, before successfully transferring into a 4-year university's biology program on a partial academic scholarship that covered a meaningful portion of her remaining tuition. Rosalind's extra shifts continued throughout, covering textbooks, lab fees, and the countless smaller costs financial aid packages never quite accounted for, though she rarely spoke about the sacrifice directly, treating it simply as what a mother did. Jasmine, in turn, never let herself forget Patricia's dismissal, not out of bitterness exactly, but as quiet fuel during organic chemistry exams that broke other students and overnight study sessions that tested her resolve completely. She was accepted into medical school 4 years later, opening the acceptance email in the same small kitchen where she'd once cried over a crumpled pamphlet, calling her mother at work immediately, both of them crying now for an entirely different reason. Rosalind requested her break early that day, standing in the hospital's back stairwell, phone pressed to her ear, whispering, "I always knew," over and over until the words blurred together with tears. Medical school brought its own brutal challenges, 4 years of relentless coursework, clinical rotations, and mounting debt that Jasmine managed through a combination of loans, a small merit scholarship, and Rosalind's continued, unwavering support in whatever form she could offer, even when it was simply a home-cooked meal delivered during finals week. Jasmine matched into a competitive internal medicine residency program at St. Augustine Medical Center itself, a coincidence that struck both women deeply the moment the match results were announced, neither quite believing Jasmine would train at the exact hospital where her mother had served lunch trays for over 2 decades. During her intern year, Jasmine deliberately avoided the main cafeteria during her mother's shifts, worried the emotional weight of the reunion might overwhelm her during an already exhausting schedule, choosing instead to grab quick meals from a vending machine on a different floor. Rosalind never pushed the issue, understanding her daughter needed to establish herself on her own footing first, though she quietly mentioned to co-workers, with unmistakable pride, that her daughter was one of the doctors upstairs now, never elaborating further than that simple, powerful sentence. For years into her residency, having distinguished herself through exceptional clinical judgment and genuine compassion with patients that colleagues frequently noted, Jasmine was named the hospital's newest chief resident, the youngest physician selected for the role in over a decade. On her first official day in the position, badge freshly updated, white coat pressed, Jasmine found herself with an unexpected 30-minute gap between rounds and decided, finally, to eat lunch in the main cafeteria for the first time in nearly 4 years. She joined the line without fully registering which server was working the counter that particular afternoon until she was standing directly in front of her mother, both women freezing for a long, silent moment before Rosalind's face broke into an expression Jasmine would remember for the rest of her life. Neither of them said anything about Patricia Hale, or the pamphlet, or the years of extra shifts worked in near silence. Rosalind simply served her daughter's tray with steady, practiced hands, looked up, and said quietly, "Welcome home, Dr. Carter," while behind them, the cafeteria line continued moving, entirely unaware they just witnessed the quiet, complete conclusion of a promise made 12 years earlier in a small kitchen that smelled faintly of steam trays and unwavering belief.